You'll know when you have a wild woman. She'll practice her craft without boundaries. She is truly autonomous. Her loyalty is only to the family she serves, a midwife who will not allow herself to be held back by a system she didn't create.
This podcast is for the birth keepers who want to grow and change. We are open to learning through self-reflection and supportive community. We are creating this space to explore without judgment. We are remembering we were
Born wild.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Born Wild podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Sophia. And today I have with me Kayla, who's going to share her home birth story. So I'll just hand it right over to you to introduce yourself and your family.
Hi, Sophia. So my name's Kayla. My husband is Joel. I have a stepdaughter, Babel. She's 6 years old. And then new baby boy, Declan. And he's 5 months old now. Grew up in Sonoma County. And I live in Santa Rosa now. Work in real estate, work for myself. And that's pretty much it.
Thanks for being willing to share your story. There's not a ton of first-time mom home birth stories, I mean, we hear them fairly often, but a lot of people will, well, let me go to the hospital first, or at least a birth center before I, do a home birth with my first. So I'm kind of curious. I want to back up to like where your story begins, like either when you knew you wanted to be a mom, or you found out you were pregnant, or you started trying to conceive, and like how you knew about home birth, how you decided that was an option for you.
Okay. So Joel and I got married 2022. We pretty much got pregnant right away. So we were ready. And I was trying to figure out when I decided I wanted a home birth. Joel's sister is a midwife in Florida. He was a home birth. And so I had spoken with her about that. And, but I think even before Joel, I was open to that idea because I don't like hospitals. I don't like, kind of somewhat against Western medicine. I'm more holistic. And so as soon as I started researching, I think both, hospital birth and a home birth, it just kind of made more sense to me to, do it more natural. And I actually, when I first found out I was pregnant, I started talking to a birth center. I thought that was kind of a nice in between. And as it turned out, the birth center was in the process of closing and was going to not have the facility anymore by the time my due date came around. So one of the midwives said, you can have a home birth. And what's great is that after the baby's born, you just go straight to bed. You don't have to get in a car. And I was like, okay, that sounds amazing.
Right. Because even at a birth center, you've got I think they usually keep you about 6 hours, and then you got to get into a car on a slower perineum, maybe.
Right. Yeah. And then I decided I had heard about you from someone else that had a home birth. And I met with you, and as soon as we met, I just felt so comfortable. And I remember you came to our house, and it just seemed like you'd stay all night and talk to us about home birth if we wanted to. And then I met Leah, and I felt really comfortable with her, and just knew that I wanted you guys there, part of our team.
So it was.
Yeah. And I will say I have seen 2 hospital births. When I was 14, I saw my mom give birth to my youngest sister, and she did not use any medication, and it was a little traumatizing. And then I think we also found out that she wanted, the epidural, but the doctor, they kept telling her, oh, it's on the way. And, it ended up being too late, but they were just giving her that false hope, which was really sad. And then my cousin, I don't really remember it, but she had an epidural, and it was a pretty simple birth. Both of them didn't really have complications. And also I had friends recently, prior to me getting pregnant, that were having hospital births, and they were talking about induction. I was just like, what does that even mean? And I started going down that rabbit hole of understanding all the complications that can come from a hospital birth, and a lot of them lead to C-section. And so that pretty much also convinced me that I didn't want to go that route unless I had to.
Mm. And so those births that you witnessed, were they like in your mind at like, well, that's what hospital birth is like, or that's what birth is like?
I think hospital birth.
Mm-hmm.
I also started following a lot of Instagram profiles, and so I'd see these beautiful, relaxing, quiet births, thinking
Was
that
yours a
this
beautiful,
is my
relaxing, quiet birth?
not exactly.
I know.
It was beautiful. I would say we'll get there.
We need some more like raw, real birth videos that women are
Right.
willing to share, because I hear that quite often where people are like, that was not the birth that I've seen on Instagram, where it's like played to music and
Yeah, and they're like smiling and not making a sound, which
yeah,
not usually the case.
a little misleading. Yeah.
Yeah. No, my mom, she was just like screaming for help, and it was scary not being able to help her. But it is more realistic, and maybe it was a good thing I experienced that.
Yeah. Okay, so you're pregnant and you've decided
Yes.
on home birth. What was your pregnancy like? Like first trimester, second, third, anything to report about?
So, first trimester was during winter, and I just remember being so cold, not wanting to leave the bed. I had the heater turned up to like 72, and I'd still be freezing. I don't know why that was. And then I had some nausea. I did not throw up though. And let's see. I did have some spotting early on, which really scared me. I remember waking up in the middle of the night. I was crying, and the birth center that I was working with, they got me an ultrasound, to make sure there was still a baby there and everything. And thankfully, everything was okay. Um, and then let's see. After that, I chose not to do ultrasounds anymore. I kind of did some more research on that. I heard a podcast from Dr. Jen. I think that was on your guys' podcast. And so no more ultrasounds. I did do genetic testing and found out the gender. We had a gender reveal. And actually, I did go to an OB doctor to do that because I hadn't figured out who I was working with yet. That was pretty early on. And that also made me realize I did not want to work with a doctor. It felt so rushed. And she was nice. She actually was my sister's OB, and she loves her, which is good. But just it wasn't the same kind of experience I had already had with you, and realized that was not what I wanted.
Yeah. For
Second,
anyone listening, we'll link Dr. Jen's ultrasound episode in the show notes.
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of interesting. I had never thought that there's anything wrong with ultrasounds, and there might not be, but we don't have that, research to know for sure. So, and I just didn't feel like it was necessary, at that point.
Yeah, it's just knowing about what the risks are, potential risks, and finding that out for yourself if you feel like the information you could get from it is worth it or not.
Yeah. And of course, not of course, but the other midwife I was talking to never really explained that prior to me, making that decision either. So I think in the moment I just wanted the reassurance, and it helped, but glad that I, learned more about that. So, second trimester, I don't really remember a lot of negative or side effects. And then third trimester, maybe part of second trimester, I started getting carpal tunnel. It was weird. My arm would fall asleep, and let's see, heartburn. And
was there anything that helped your carpal tunnel?
Wearing a wrist brace, which I'm still.
Everyone can't see it, but she just held it up.
Yeah. Still wearing it. Still having some issues with my wrist, which I'm working on. But that definitely helped, wearing that at night when I was sleeping. What else? Oh, I did. Okay, so I did chiropractic care 2 to 3 times a week since the first trimester. And then I went to acupuncture a few times, which I think I should have done that more often. I think that probably would have helped my wrist more. And yeah, I don't know. Pregnancy wasn't that bad. I mean, I enjoyed it. I really liked the third trimester. I liked having the big baby bump. So that
Yeah.
was fun. Yeah. Because before it was like, not as obvious. And yeah.
Yeah. What
Oh
about
my
any of
God.
the like tests or lab work? Did you opt into any of those things or did you decide to skip them?
Um, let's see. Besides the genetic testing,
Yeah, like
we
there's gestational diabetes screening
oh
or group B strep screening,
yeah, no. I did the at home. I checked my blood myself. I did not do the
like with the glucometer, poking your finger.
yeah, yeah. I chose to do that instead of the um whatever that sugary drink thing is.
Mhm.
And then I think next time maybe I would just do just checking my blood sugar. I think you said I could just do a quick blood draw, do that
Yeah,
way.
you can just do
Uh,
like an A1C to check your average over the
mhm.
last couple months.
Yeah, and I did not do the strep. I just, you know, given all the, I guess, what is it like pros
Research.
and cons? Yeah, research. um, I just didn't find it necessary.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay, well, what about like leading up to labor? How did that all unfold for you?
So I was anticipating baby being late because all my friends that were first time moms, they were like at least a week late usually. So
Mhm.
I just had it in my head. He's gonna be late. And then sure enough, he came early and I think I was just kind of let's see what happened. I remember the timeline. I did do a lot of prep before. I should say, like, I started seeing a therapist. I did hypnotherapy, which was amazing. I really recommend that for anyone, especially first time moms when you don't know what to expect. It kind of helped me get in the right mindset. She recorded some like recordings for me to listen to and kind of prepare myself mentally. Um, and that was a recommendation from you guys. And then I also I got this course online. It was pain-free labor, which
Mhm.
just clickbait, I think. But they had a lot of good stuff about the hypnobirthing and how to just change your mindset and basically get through the contractions. And then there was also, they recommended herbs to take. I did what's it called?
It's like a labor prep blend, is it?
Yeah, and then the evening primrose oil, I did that like as a suppository to help soften my cervix.
Mhm.
Clary sage and fennel essential oils with a carrier oil, and you massage that around your belly clockwise twice
Mhm.
a day, I think. Eating dates, all those things. Um, so that may have helped me go into labor early. I don't know, or he was just ready to come out.
Yeah, you'll
So
never know because you can't go back and try again, right?
no, but I woke up in the middle of the night and I had noticed like I was leaking. I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure that's my water. Started having some cramps. I was like, I think this is it. And um, yeah, I think I was kind of like, not, I was like, am I really ready for this? I was like, well, I just went to Costco. We got plenty of food. the we decided to clear out one of our rooms to kind of make it ready. So all the furniture was moved around. I think we had the tub ready to go. So I was like, all right, this is happening, I guess. Or it
Hmm.
could be false labor, but it was. I went into labor and I think I messaged you guys and you're like, yeah, not yet, but keep us posted.
Still
Like my
early.
contractions are 30 minutes apart. And that was
It's
a
hard not to
Friday
get
morning.
excited.
Yeah, I know. I call my dad. He's like, it could be false labor, Like, please don't tell me that. I'm ready to go now. Let's do this. Um, so and then I guess just go into the whole labor. Let's see.
Well, your
So
water broke pretty soon after you started. Yeah.
actually, I don't remember my water breaking. I just remember leaking fluid. So it was kind of just slow, not like in the movies.
Yeah. Hollywood gush.
And then, let's see. Yeah, that was Friday morning. I had my husband still go to work, but I told him to be on call. Took my stepdaughter to school, and then I had my mom like pick her up after. I was like, "You're taking her for the weekend because this is happening." And I think that night is when they started to get more intense. And I just kept trying to rest in between. I think there were times when we were able to sleep for maybe an hour at a time. I was having back labor, which I was not anticipating that, and I do not wish that on anyone. It was very intense, not fun. So I kept going in the shower. I think it was early morning of Saturday, and the water was helping. And then I think that's when I contacted you guys to come, and then Leah came that morning. I think Allie was there too. Yeah, Allie. And then we had my youngest sister's friend come, Brenna. She was going to nursing school and wants to be a midwife and hadn't seen a birth. So I was like, do you want to be there? And do you want to also take photos and videos for us? So she got to come experience that as well. So she came in the morning, and Leah was checking things, and she's like, you're still not ready. So we're going to leave. And I was like, what? No. I think the hardest thing was just not knowing, like, when is this baby coming out? Like,
yeah. Because like,
oh no.
talk about the intensity of it, but like, how do you know what the intensity is? Like, what is mild? What is moderate? Because it's all really intense until you know what's coming.
Yeah. And Leah's like, you're going to get to a point where you can't even talk between contractions. Like, it's going to be a lot more. I'm like, oh my God, like how much more could it get? So, and the whole time we were keeping track of the contractions. Joel was with me the entire time. He was doing the counter pressure, which really helped me out a lot. Trying to get me to eat and drink. I was drinking water, but I did not want to eat. I think I had some popsicles and a little bit of peanut butter the whole time. All right. So then I think we got through the day. I kept trying to nap and lay down in between contractions. And then I think around 7:00 is when we called you, and you were on call. And so you and Allie came back. I was like, can I get in the tub now? And you're like, yes, fill it up. And so super excited about that. Yay. But it still didn't happen quite yet. So in the tub, I didn't realize how early it was that we got in the tub. I went back and looked at all the video footage, and it was 7:00 p.m. and then I guess early in the morning, contractions. And then there was one point when I was resting, and I just remember thinking, like, they're getting further apart. Like, I don't feel like, I thought it was like time to push, but then it was just like things didn't feel like they're necessarily progressing. I was like, maybe I need to get out of the tub. And so then I started walking around, and right after that, it was just like back to back really quick. And I remember hearing about another home birth that was that you guys did, and that was she ended up having the baby over the toilet. So I remember thinking, like, maybe I just need to go stand over the toilet. I'll feel more comfortable pushing, and I feel like I have to poop, and then sure enough, that's where we had little Declan.
The toilet, I mean, we call it like dilation station, and there's a lot of nicknames for it, but it really does like help, all the downward pressure and like the feeling of release, and
because I mean, here I was like on all fours in the tub, Joel behind me, like my sister's friend taking pictures. I was like, I just cannot feel comfortable right now. There was just something about being over the toilet that just felt more natural, and also I think gravity helped. And then at one point, I think I went down to, like, I was taking a break and wiped because it felt like there was liquid down there, and I realized, I was like, wait a minute, like, why is it dark? And I realized that that was coming from the baby. And sure enough, he came out. Well, I think you were asking, do you want to touch him? I was like, no, no.
Yeah.
I was like, is he out yet? Like, is he out? I didn't want, I was like, if I probably would have tried touching him, I would have probably tried yanking him out or something. And also I remember feeling like it was burning and like,
All the
I
stress.
was, yeah. And I thought for sure I tore everywhere, but luckily that did not happen. But he did come out. We were very surprised that he was butt first. He was all folded up.
Yeah, yeah. So what you were wiping was meconium that was getting squeezed out of him. And instead of the head stretching you, it was his little booty.
Yes. And I'm assuming that that's probably part of why I had back labor. I don't.
It can be really common when babies are in breech position. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and yeah, I don't think I necessarily realized what was coming out or yeah. And I think I later found out like Joel was kind of nervous about that, but I mean, once he was out, I was like, okay, we're good.
Yeah.
And I remember he was coughing and he didn't cry right away, but I could tell he was okay, and it was such a relief.
Yeah.
He was out. It was over.
Breech babies can be, we usually say like their 1 minute APGARs are usually a little less than a head down baby. Sometimes they just take a little bit longer to come around, but it doesn't necessarily mean they need any help. They just need sometimes a little more patience. Yeah.
And it's fun now to go back and watch the video because he's literally like just dangling out, and we're just like, I don't know, my family is like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
my
like
mom and sister.
Their feet drop and then they're just kind of hanging there. There's some sort of comedian, I don't remember who it is, that says something like babies that are born breech wear their mother as a hat for a short period of time or something like that.
I remember someone said that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
There and describe immediate postpartum and your placenta.
Yeah. So I just remember I didn't feel like I could relax. Like we were in the bathroom and I feel like the cord was a little short to where I couldn't really hold him up very high. And he was crying and I was just kept just breathing really heavy and I was having a hard time like calming down. And I was just like, when's the placenta coming out? When's it coming out? Because I just felt like once that was out, then I'd be able to move him around more. I also wanted to be able to hand him to Joel and just kind of like focus on relaxing more. So we ended up going back in the tub to kind of clean up and warm up. And again, I think like with the water, it was like hard to hold him in a position where I was comfortable and he was comfortable, or I don't know, not crying as much, or and then Joel too with us. And but we definitely were doing a lot of the skin to skin. It was nice, and I'm very thankful for that. And then I was planning on doing the delayed cord clamping and doing the burn ceremony. But I just kept trying to like push out the placenta, which I ended up just pushing out blood. And at some point, you guys said, let's get out of the tub and lay down. And so we got into bed. And I don't know what it was. I think noticing the water or just noticing that there was a lot of blood loss.
I think from my memory, it was less about blood and more about, it seemed like you were kind of having, not like a panic attack, but you seemed like really anxious for some reason. And, there's this piece where like, you want to get the placenta out because then you're done, like you're not done with birth until that piece is out. And then you can finally be like, okay, we're done. I can relax. You don't have this thing hanging out of you. And with the cord being short, it is like harder to navigate the baby, and until the placenta's out. So I think it was then where I was like, okay, let's just like get you to the bed and see like if your placenta is ready, you know, because a lot of times the placenta is ready and the mom just needs to push it out, you know.
Yeah.
Usually like the 3 signs we look for is what we call a separation gush, where there's like a little gush of blood. The cord stops pulsing and goes flat and white. And then you start to have like some cramping that your body's like, okay, let's get it out. So I thought if we got you out, we could kind of like assess everything.
Yeah. I remember you guys gave me oxygen, and I don't know if we first cut the cord. I think I was just like, all right, you know, it was them pulsating. Let's just cut it. That way Joel could take Declan while you were like, let's do an IV. Of course, I don't have good veins. So, I mean, you tried 3 spots to get the IV in. Well, I don't know if that was before or after.
Well, the reason we started doing that is because we got to bed and we checked your blood pressure and it was really high.
Yeah. And normally I have really low blood pressure. So
yeah, you have low blood pressure usually, and it was like 210 over 194. And we were like,
that's really scary.
And there's this balance of like, is this a panic attack or is this something else, you know, something more serious? So then we were like, we should focus on getting your placenta out. So that's why we decided to cut the cord so Joel could hold the baby. We could just focus on you.
Yeah. No, I watched video and I'm like breathing heavy for like so long. I'm just like, could I not just chill out, you know, a little bit? But
I don't, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot, you know?
Yeah. This was Sunday morning. So it had been like 2 days too.
Yeah.
Was very little sleep. So then I think you were like, okay, let me see if it's ready. Or, you know, I think you tried to see if it had detached and then the cord snapped. Is that right? Yeah. And then you're like, all right, I'm going in.
Yeah.
And that was,
I said, before we call,
your
cord snapped because I couldn't find the end of it to like clamp it, because if it's still attached to you, then you're still bleeding. I was like, before we decide to go in, because I couldn't get an IV either. I tried I was like, before we call it, do you want me to try to see if I can remove it? And I was like, I had this done to me and I do not take it lightly, you know. And you agreed. And I could get most of it off, but there was about a quarter size piece that was like really firmly attached. And with your like blood pressure and everything, I was like, I don't think I should mess with that, you know?
Yeah. And you'd also give me Pitocin too. I agree to that. I'm just like, whatever you guys got to do.
Yeah. I decided that was the first time I've ever given Pitocin. I mean, I've done it before with like assisting other midwives, but for my own client. And the reason I did is because the cord was snapped, you know, and I couldn't get to it. So gave it to try to help the placenta release.
Yeah. And so then you're like, all right, that's it. We got to make the call. I was like, okay. And I feel like at that point I was a lot more calm, maybe because of, I guess, my blood pressure or whatever was going on. And then, so ambulance came and paramedics came in, and then they were like, oh, why don't you stand up and walk over, you know, into the hallway? And you're like, no. And I sat up and I passed out.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think she should do anything except just get a ride. But yeah, I think they sat you up to get your robe on you. And that was a bad call.
I'm like, I don't care, whatever.
Me. That was a bad call. You did not handle that well. And I think back to, you had said we'd given you some oxygen. It was when your blood pressure was really high. And I think they had taken it off of you to get the robe on. And so I was like, I think we should lay her down. I think we should put that back on. I remember feeling, because we don't call for EMS very often. And I remember feeling like I wanted to be respectful and grateful of their support. And like now in hindsight, I needed to take a lot more charge, because they were feeling very lost and confused, and they needed a lot more direction than I was giving them. Because when I did give them direction, they listened and they followed. In my mind, that would have been rude, you know, but for anyone listening, any midwives, like, I think they appreciate it, you know, just like tell them what they need to do. Like, we really just need a ride to the hospital.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Because when our last blood pressure on you, before they got there was 103/85, which you would think is better because it's, you know, lower, but because of how high it was and you were continuing to bleed, I was worried that it was going to continue to drop.
Yeah.
Which it did.
Yeah. And so, got on the ambulance. I felt pretty comfortable. Maybe it was just the one guy who, you know, took me. He was able to get the IV in while driving. I was like blown away by that. But then like there was no sirens. The guy stopped at the stoplight. So I'm like, okay.
Wait, the guy driving gave you an
No, not the guy driving. The other guy.
I don't think I was trying to picture that. Okay. While the guy was driving, like you were
while we were moving, going over bumps, all that. But I do remember being wheeled out or, you know, carried out into the ambulance thinking like, you know, what's going to happen? Like, are they gonna have to cut me open to get this out? Like, is this gonna be it? Like, am I gonna die? I don't know. Like, but through it all, I was like, I believe in God, I believe in the universe, you know, higher power is watching over me and I'm gonna be okay. And I did feel somewhat calm and like felt like I was being taken care of. And then when I got to the emergency, luckily you followed them and met me there. I'm gonna cry. Very thankful for all that. I remember being in the emergency room and hearing like the nurses and paramedics making jokes and that kind of like, at first I was like, what are they doing? And then I was like, you know what? They're making jokes, like maybe it's not as bad as you know. So and then I remember one doctor, whoever was there first, didn't seem like they knew what they were doing. They were trying to use forceps. It was just kind of like they're just fiddling around. I don't know. And then finally the woman doctor came in. She's like, all right, I'm gonna go in, you know, whatever. And then there was a nurse. I was like, can I get medication? And they're like, no, not yet, you're not ready. And one nurse was like, you can hold my hand. And then she went in and luckily, I guess the placenta had detached. So it was just sitting there ready to be removed.
Yes, she didn't have to move it. It was right there. The first doctor was just like an ER doctor. So they really did. They were waiting for the OB who had come in. I don't think she was at the hospital. And so they were waiting on her and just trying to keep you stable. So they were giving you blood and they were giving you medication to help with bleeding, you know, for hemorrhage, and just trying to keep you stable until she arrived, basically, is what they're doing.
That's crazy.
And then like you said, it was sitting right there. It came out and after,
and then I remember
you received 3 blood transfusions.
I think so. So not ideal, but I definitely know that helped my recovery. And then I remember the doctor asking if I wanted stitches, and you were like, you probably don't need them, but it's up to you. I was like, no, thanks, but I'm good. It was just a 1-degree tear. And then you were also telling me how I could ask for my placenta, let them know I wanted to plant a tree. And I think she was really hesitant about that. And I was like, no, I really like that. And so they're like, okay, fine. And they gave that to you. And then they offered me antibiotics. And I was like, no, I'm good. Thanks. So very thankful for Western medicine when it's, you know, for times like these. I'm also very thankful that you guys made that call, you know, and didn't hesitate. So
well, and we had talked too, because you were like, why did that happen? Will it happen again? And obviously we have no idea, but you know, we had talked about, you know, if I had gotten the IV, would we have felt safer staying home, knowing we could like replenish you? Like, would that have helped your blood pressure? would that have bought us more time? Was it the Pitocin that helped it release and then it was sitting right there?
Yeah,
You know,
right.
like, and it's too hard to know.
Yeah.
If we had stayed and waited a little longer after the Pitocin, could we have just
Mhm.
taken it out? Like, it's too
Yeah.
hard to know. Yeah. And like chicken or egg, were you anxious about the placenta, or was there like an underlying like intuition about needing some support around your placenta? Like, there's just
Mhm.
questions, there's no real answers.
Yeah. I kept thinking like, what could I have done differently? And so I'm still seeing the same therapist. And then we did like a hypnotherapy about reimagining what I would have liked the birth to go, how I
Mhm.
would have, had that not happen. And so, and then also accepting that, yeah, there's things out of our control and, that's
Yeah.
okay. And just accepting that as my birth story.
Yeah,
So,
and I do a lot of thinking whenever I like quote unquote intervene, and I'll try to play back like, what if you did this or didn't do this? And I think about like, what would have been like if I hadn't taken your blood pressure? Like, if we just didn't know that piece.
oh, wow.
And it's like,
Yeah.
would that have, been better, without that like knowing of like, oh my gosh, this blood pressure is really high. Would something have worse happen, or would it have been like, and then we just waited and your placenta came eventually? Like, I don't,
Hmm.
you never know, but I always am like
Yeah.
playing with those like scenarios of,
Hmm.
trying to find a piece where maybe we could have done better, or
Yeah.
done different and to help you more. But again, we'll never really know. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
But and then I was in the labor and delivery for a while, and I remember you were with me, and you're like, "Do you want to see your baby?" And I'm just like, "Oh!" I start crying. I was like, "Oh my god, I had a baby!" Like,
Because he stayed home with dad and
yes,
Allie, and Allie was like checking him out and did a newborn exam,
yeah,
and she's
yeah.
there.
Oh, we FaceTimed, and I was just like crying and so happy.
Because you were trying
uh,
to decide, am I just like gonna go home, or like should we bring him here? We were trying to figure
yeah, yeah. And so he got him ready and brought him. It's funny because I think the week, or I think it was like when I was in labor and, early on, he's like, "Oh, should I, get the car seat set up?" I'm like, "Why? We're having a home birth. Like, we're not going anywhere anytime soon." So then he had to go figure out the car seat.
out.
But luckily, he's had a kid before, so he can figure
Yeah.
that out. So yeah, he came and um, my family came and visited, and it was good to see them. And I actually had really good nurse in in, at the hospital. So yeah, it ended up all being okay.
And
And
eventually I went home. How long did you stay at the hospital for?
we left later that afternoon, maybe like 4 o'clock. I think at first they were saying like, yeah, you should spend the night, but then all my vitals were okay, and so they're like, yeah, you can go home now, which was nice. It was great getting to sleep in our own bed again, getting some rest. And I think if there's anything else part of the first one.
I just remember
Yeah.
the first visit postpartum, you answered the door, and my
Oh
eyes
yes.
were like as big as saucers, because we hadn't talked about, usually we'll do like discharge instructions where we talk about postpartum and resting in bed. But you
Yeah.
blood transfusions, it felt like superwomen's.
Yeah. We went up and went to the chiropractor the next day, which I think even Dr. Jen was like, "You had this baby yesterday?" And I remember asking someone at the chiropractor, like, when do people usually come in? They're like, "Oh, they'll come in on the way home from the hospital." So I thought, oh, well, it's normal to come in like the following few days after, but no, I should have been in bed.
I was like,
Um,
you artificially feel really good because they gave you
yeah,
blood, but you should be resting. And
yeah, yeah. So, and then when you explain, yeah, everything needs to go back to its normal place. I'm like, okay, yeah, definitely need to go lay down more. Um, and so also I forgot to mention that my sister was pregnant with me like throughout the whole journey. So our due dates were 3 days apart.
that's so fun.
And yeah, and I ended up having Declan 8 days before, and then she had a scheduled C-section. So completely different labor stories.
Yeah, yeah.
But
It'll be fun to
been
have
a lot of
cousins
fun.
grow up close together.
Oh yeah, they're already besties.
Cute.
And I'm very thankful I had her like through the whole process to relate to and everything. So yeah.
What was immediate, like, or not immediate, but like postpartum like for you? Anything you want to touch on? How was breastfeeding? How's your healing been?
It was all good. I was all worried, and when I was going to the hospital, I was like, "We don't have formula. How's he gonna eat?" And like, he'll be fine. As soon as he came in, brought him in, latched, and I did have a lactation consultant come a couple times, and she actually commented, she's like, "These home birth babies are just different." I was like, "Oh, I guess just he seemed really calm and didn't have any issues with latching." So very thankful for that. And I actually have been enjoying breastfeeding more than I would have imagined. And, modesty, you're no longer, modest anymore, which I never thought that'd be me. But
You have to double check that your boobs put away before you open the front door.
yeah, right. I know, I'm like, okay, maybe some people don't need to see it. But yeah, what else? Yeah,
Your
I feel like I
healing's been
healed.
good.
Yeah, we ended up going to Maui. I think it was like 5, 6 weeks postpartum, which I mostly rested there. I just was like, husband's on paternity leave, another week. Like, let's go, get out of the house. And so that was nice.
Get out of the
Yeah. Yeah. So, um, and I think too, just trying to do more with baby help. I was definitely seeing like how easy it is to stay home and just not go anywhere, and um, wanted to not get in the habit of doing that. Also get more comfortable with the car and being around people in different situations. And so now he's a little traveler. um, yeah. So it was good.
Yeah. How has been like reflecting on your birth and your transport? Like how has that left you in terms of, having a home birth?
Oh, I'll absolutely have another home birth. um, because it's like, and a lot of family, I think they were like, "Oh, this is why you don't have a home birth." I'm like, it had nothing to do with the home birth. you know, um, it happened afterwards, and I talked to a lot of my friends, and they had the same thing where their placenta wasn't coming out, and basically the doctors or nurse would just, yank it out, and so it is common for it to be retained or just, take longer. So it could have happened in the hospital.
At the hospital, they want it out within like 20 minutes. And just to reference here, like it was over an hour before we even got you out of the tub to like start trying to do something more. So it wasn't like rushed necessarily. But yeah, and you had kind of, asked me before we even started this about talking about the transport and feeling worried that you might like you didn't want to scare anyone. You didn't want to scare anyone either away from home birth or just in general. And I just asked you, I said, "Are you scared of home birth because of it?" And you're like, "No."
Yeah,
no. Share that, because it's good. It's good to hear like real stories of what has happened to people and if you would do anything differently or if, just, yeah, what it was like for you.
Yeah, I definitely think I would focus more on trying to get myself to relax afterwards and not worry about the placenta. I probably would not get back in the tub. I think I just go lay in bed. Um, and I'm very glad that we were able to do the skin to skin as long as we did. Like it didn't happen immediately after. I think that was really important. And when I was reflecting with my therapist about it and reimagining it, I was actually holding Declan during the session, and he was sleeping, and just like in the moment, I didn't really feel like upset about having to leave Declan. I knew like, this is what I need to do. And we hadn't fully like, I don't know, had that bonding yet. And so, but then when I was reimagining it, I was like, oh, it just breaks my heart thinking about having to leave him so soon. And so, yeah, that part kind of makes me sad about it, but it's okay because we're okay. And yeah, I would definitely do a home birth again. And what else? I was thinking about something else. I hope it won't be as long of a labor next time. I feel like now I'll have a lot better idea of what to expect. And I think what really helped me get through all the contractions and the back labor was just one contraction at a time, just trying to focus on that. Yeah. And having an amazing partner too. I mean, he only left when he had to go to the bathroom because I wouldn't let him pee in the tub. No. I was like, you need to go to the bathroom. And then he would go get coffee. And that was basically it. He was there the rest of the time. It was very, very lucky to have that support. So, and you guys were amazing too. And it made me feel very comfortable. I'm so glad I had it at home and like in my own space. I felt like I could be loud or scream or roar or whatever it was. And then, we had like fake candles everywhere and I played like relaxing music and it just felt, you guys were there, if I had questions, you were checking his heart rate, I knew everything was going well and, nothing to worry about. It's just a very crazy experience.
Yeah, really surreal to go from that home birth, world into the hospital. And yeah. Well, thank you for being willing to share a story that can be like really emotionally charged too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good for people to hear.
Yeah. And I think too.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I think I remember asking when we first met, have you had any transports? I think it was all been, their choice, never an emergency. So I think it was hard for me too to accept like I'm the first, and because I don't want to be that, I hope there's no more. So
yeah,
but
I hope so too.
Yeah.
I hope you can hold that special spot in my heart. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, if anyone wants to be in touch with you, is there a way they can connect to you? We could leave it in the show notes.
Yeah. Instagram would probably be best. And actually, I was going to mention that in postpartum, I connected with a bunch of friends that are moms and have babies. And we started doing mom walks together at Spring Lake and different parts around Sonoma County and Marin. But any moms that want to join us are more than welcome to. So we have a Facebook group we started for that, but they can find me on Instagram, just Kayla Shock. So
perfect.
I'm also happy to share my birth video if anyone wants to see a breech delivery over the toilet.
Perfect.
I think it helped me seeing other people's, real birth videos. So
yeah, definitely does. Well, thank you again.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, everyone, that's it for today. Thank you for listening to the Born Wild podcast. If you enjoy our podcast, please rate, review, and subscribe every week to get the latest one.
And please follow us on Instagram at Born Wild Podcast, as well as Facebook. You can also write to us at info@bornwildmidwifery.com, as well as our website, bornwildmidwifery.com.
And remember,
stay wild.